What's up, guys? The red light is on. Everyone's favorite Fight Bananas segment. Felicia Spencer right there. I'm Dave Van Auken. Fee, first of all, how are you doing?
I'm doing great. I'm excited for the fights this weekend.
I'm excited on the fight too, but before we get there, my body has not been the same since our hot wing challenge 2 weeks ago. There wasn't any UFC last week. My body's still not the same.
Oh God. Well, I've
Melendez.
been thoroughly enjoying the remainder of the hot sauce at home,
Man,
so
look,
it's been going through it pretty quick,
that,
actually.
that black truffle is so good. Oh my
So good.
goodness. Shout out to Melendez out there. Gee whiz. All right, let's get into it. Huge pay-per-view. I love every time they come into Jacksonville. And, 18 months ago, maybe it was the best card. It was like that post-pandemic. And Rose Namajunas and Valentina and what Usman did in the main event. Really great card. This card is really close to it. I love how deep it is with Rosenstruck and Tisha versus Mackenzie Dern. Ian Gary. There's just a lot of like little Mark Madsen, my guy Mark Madsen, undefeated Madsen's on the card. I love a lot of fights on it. And then there's a triple main event, three huge favorites, a lot of stuff to get into. But a quick
Yeah.
shout out to you, Felicia. 9-1 on your lock pick. Like we had to make a post. Fight Bananas made a post. That's impressive. That's really impressive. 9-1. That's good.
Yeah, I'd like to get my underdog picks a little more accurate, but that's all right. I'll take the lock picks as at least I'm winning that one pretty well.
On your phenomenal picks, you're 4-6. That's really good to pick an underdog. Like people don't understand. Just to pick the favorites, how hard it is. You're literally picking someone who's supposed to lose. Like literally, Las Vegas is making them like, oh, this person, female or male, is going to lose this fight, and you're picking that 4 out of 10. That's pretty damn good too. You're so close to being 500.
Yeah, I'm curious. I gotta start keeping track of like the actual numbers. Like if I bet $100 on every pick I made,
Right,
what I would end up with. Like
right.
because maybe I would still be making money on those 4 wins, and
I would
because it's
think
so
so.
cheap to buy the underdog. That
Yep.
if you pay out higher, maybe I'm still kind of on top money wise.
I think you are. I totally get what you're saying. So, guys, what they're saying, like if you go to DraftKings right now, one of the best places to bet on MMA, you go to DraftKings.com. So if you bet on an underdog and it's like plus 250, so if Felicia puts $100 on, whoever to win, just to say Tisha Torres, right? And if you win, you get $250. So you make up more. And if you lose a couple times, you already made up more of that money. So I think you're ahead. I do think 4 out of 6 on underdog picks, you're ahead, especially 9-1 in lock picks. You're way ahead on that. So we're making money. I'm telling you, DraftKings, hire this woman right here, Felicia Spencer. All right, let's get into the card. Let's kind of go with your phenomenal pick first. There's a lot of stuff to talk about because I want to get these picks out and then kind of talk about more stuff on the card. What is your underdog pick? What is your Felicia Spencer phenomenal pick for UFC 273?
Yeah, this one I'll give both names that I was kind of thinking about. So one that's really close is Tisha Torres. She's like barely an underdog. It's almost even
Yep.
with her opponent. So with Mackenzie Dern being her opponent, I like that pick. But it's not my official pick just because anything can happen with a jiu-jitsu expert like Dern. But I just see Tisha kind of maybe being stronger and having good takedown defense, which isn't takedowns are not necessarily Mackenzie's strong point. So it's hard to get her to the ground. But my pick is going to be Aspen Ladd. She's she was supposed to originally fight Irene Aldana. She was getting ready for this striker, and then things switch up, and she's going to Raquel Pennington now, sort of last minute. Still another striker, I would say, and I don't think on the same level as Irene Aldana. So I think she was already preparing for someone like Raquel. Raquel might be a little grittier. I think she's going to be like that, just more of a grinding fight, maybe a little grittier. But I think Aspen will be able to keep her game plan pretty much intact. And I think she's got the skills to win. I feel like her last outing made a lot of people doubt her ability, but I'm sure there was a lot that played into that. And I feel like she's going to come back really strong. She looks great. She looks ready. So I'm excited to see her.
All right, very cool. I can't wait to talk about this. So that's funny. Aspen Ladd plus 165 as an underdog versus Pennington, like you said, took that fight on short notice. So first of all, just go with the Aspen Ladd. We're going to go into Tisha in a second. I love that pick a lot too. When she was in the main event, she was the favorite to win that main event, 5-6 months ago. She had a lot of buzz behind her, moving weight classes and stuff. And I was really high on Aspen. And that was one of the, most polarizing losses of the whole year because of their coach, manager, boyfriend situation, all that. Don't want to get back into it. But it was just like, it was loud. It was a big, so like more than any of these people on the card, any of these fighters on the cards, like this is like a big bounce back spot. So I love that pick right there at Aspen Line. Love that. Go to Tisha Torres. That's one of my favorite picks on the whole card. Like, I cannot believe she's minus 105. I love Tisha Torres in this spot. Like, we will get into this in a second with how heavy of a favorite Chimaev is and Volkanovski is and Petr Yan and all that stuff. I love Tisha Torres. Like, she's one of my lock picks on this whole card. And then when I saw in DraftKings at minus 105, I'm like, oh my goodness, I feel like this is the present. Like, I just, rivalries, situations make fights and how they do it. And just like, I just think, I don't know, like I do see a way how Dern is going to capitalize on Tisha Torres. Like, I just don't think it's a great matchup for her. I think matchups make fights, and I love Tisha in that matchup a lot. It's one of my favorites.
Yeah, exactly. The matchup is tough for Dern. I think Dern is a top level fighter, but yeah, her takedown, success rate versus Tisha's takedown defense rate. I just feel like it's the story of the fight. Like Tisha's a striker, she's a kicker, striker. She's probably going to avoid more kicking. I would assume during this fight just to avoid the takedown. And she's no slouch on the ground either. She's just still, I think she's a little smaller of a strawweight than Mackenzie, but strong. So she's really filled out her size. And yeah, I agree. I feel like it's a pretty safe underdog bet to make.
And that almost goes to her advantage. She's like very low to the gravity, like not trying, I love Tisha Torres. I'm a fan of Tisha Torres. She's just very short. So it's hard to get her down. Like, there's just not a lot of base there. There's not a lot of legs to grab. She's very short. And she's like this tornado. She's won 3 fights in a row. So she's got a very high momentum and just positive mojo. So Tisha Torres. Wow, I didn't think we were going to talk about Tisha for 5 minutes, but I love this spot. So there we go. All right, let's go with the 9-1 Felicia Spencer's lock pick, UFC 273. Hey, we talked about it. I know we'll probably get into all those fights with Yan and Chimaev. There's so much. Rosenstrike's on the undercard. What is your absolute lock? Give me something that no question is going to happen at UFC 273.
Yeah, this one was it was like easy but hard because I made a list right away of like 5 that I like for locks, and they're all like favorites. So I mean, the whole top of the card, I like the favorites in that. Like my list, I'll read it to you. It was Volkanovski, Yan, Chimaev, Rosenstrike, and Ian Gary. And then I'm like, all right, I got to pick one of these guys. I mean, honestly, all 5 of those I really like. Rosenstrike might be a little more risky just because we don't know much about Tibura. I think his game is more grappling based, and I'm curious about how that plays out. But I feel like the other 4 are like pretty good locks, honestly. But to narrow it down and really just go in on one, I'm picking Petr Yan. It's funny because the first time they fought, I picked Aljamain Sterling as my underdog pick, and then Aljamain technically won, right? But what I saw in the fight, I was like, there's no way I'm ever betting against Petr Yan, and in this case, I'm going to bet for him because I don't know that Aljamain can find the answers to what Petr Yan brought to the table in round 1 of the fight. Like in that fight, it was pretty dominant, I feel like, and I just don't see it being that much different second time around.
Okay. I like that a lot. So, we had a little UFC 273 preview. So we talked about all these fights. And, I actually just watched that fight recently because sometimes, you watch it live and then a lot of fights happen. You and we talk about all these fights each week, week in, week out. And there's so many cards now. So it's like sometimes you kind of forget a little detail. So I just watched that fight back. Sterling had a really good first round. He was so aggressive and so quick and like punches and bunches and kicks. He was just fast. Like he was, and almost in a way, like, you can talk on this more than others. Like he went probably too fast. You can tell he really slowed down in those rounds 3 and round 4. And those are the best rounds for Petr Yan. Even the Corey Sandhagen fight looks like Yan literally gets better at round after round after round. He computes all this information that he's getting for the first 5, 7, 10 minutes and then really turns it up. So like Sterling went so quick and still didn't get the job done. And I almost feel like, rounds 4, he doesn't want to get exhausted like he did the last fight. So I feel like Sterling's going to go even slower, if that makes sense. Like he wants to save energy for all 5 because Yan, you're going to go 25 minutes more likely. So I don't know. I think Jan always, the only little way, not little, but the way that, of course, I can see or envision Sterling getting the job done is on, of course, some wacky transition. His ground game is spectacular. He gets submissions all the time. He's very good on the ground, one of the best bantamweights on the ground in the game. So I think if some kind of wacky little transition happens, he can get the job done. But we've never seen Petr Yan lose in the UFC, and I'm really high on that. And until you see a man lose in that octagon, just keep on picking him. Just keep going with it, So
It's
I
a
like
good
that
idea.
a lot. All right, so we'll have fun here. We got 5 minutes left, and we'll kind of wrap it up. I love the underdog Gilbert Burns. I'm all in on this Gilbert Burns pick. I think I'm on this island. I kind of like it. I think I like him being a little bit odd on it. Chimaev, 10 fights overall, 4 in the UFC. Gilbert Burns, I think I wrote it down. I think he's 20-4. So 24 MMA fights, 13-4 in the UFC. That's a lot. Like main events. He fought Usman, fought Wonder Boy, fought different types, fought different weight classes, short notice fights. He's done it all. Like, see, he's got so much experience. I don't have to talk about the BJJ level. Like, he's got, he is a top echelon in the jits game in all of MMA. I just foresee Gilbert Burns getting the job done. And Chimaev, we've never seen him past 7 minutes, 9 minutes, whatever we're in the third round in a gritty fight. I love Felicia Gilbert Burns in this fight. Are you like it a little or no?
I do like it. It might be worth putting like a little bit because the payoff is so high. Like I said, if I had to pick, I would still lean Chimaev, but I can see Burns getting his hands too. He's been putting people out. He's able to do that. So I feel like in, first round, anything can happen, a knockout or something crazy. But yeah, the more I see of Chimaev, the more it's like, he really is like, he's just dangerous and he doesn't take any punishment. And I think he is something special, So yeah, I could definitely see Burns out of all those top 3 main event or, the main highlighted fights. I can see Burns kind of being the one that could upset, but yeah, I'm still leaning Chimaev on this one. But hey, he's got a couple extra bucks, throw it on Burns and see what happens. Maybe first round knockout. I don't see him. I feel like if he wins, it's going to be a first round knockout. I don't see him submitting Chimaev. I feel like Chimaev is also a monster on the ground, and I don't see it, but I can see a knockout.
Okay. A couple weeks ago at UFC London, I was like iffy about Tom Aspinall. He had a ton of buzz about him, and I know he's a great fighter. I just had to see more. And when I saw against Volkov, I was like, whoa, okay, I'm on the train. I'm Tom Aspinall versus any heavyweight. I'm leaning Aspinall. I know how good Chimaev is, and he is. I'm just like, I gotta see it one more time. I have to see versus Burns. All 4 of his fights are against, good competition, not great competition. And to me, Gilbert Burns is a great UFC fighter. Like I said, 13-4, one of the best fights against Kamaru Usman, who's the pound for pound king. So if you take that loss away, 13-3 in the octagon, like that's absurd. Like that's Hall of Fame type stuff. So, but if Chimaev gets the job done and gets it early, I'll be on the train. That's it for me. I will. You mentioned Ian Gary. I like that pick a lot. I think he's a next level guy. He is a, Chimaev, Patty the Bad. Like he's got a lot of buzz about him. So I like him a lot. All right. We got 2 minutes left. We haven't mentioned the main event that much. Alexander Volkanovski at -760 versus the Korean Zombie. We all thought it was going to be Max Holloway. He got injured. Didn't happen. Of course, and then it's a fight. It's a mixed martial arts contest. Anything can happen. I'm really high on Volkanovski. I think he's one of the most underrated fighters in the whole sport. And -760, I can't put any money on it. It's way too high on the odds on DraftKings. But I love Volkanovski in this spot. I think he'll get the job done.
I agree. Anything could happen. We just haven't seen Korean Zombie like winning against that same top level. But he does have great striking, and anything could happen. But like I said, Volkanovski was definitely on my lock list of picks there. So I could definitely see it getting done. And like you said, I feel like he's still underrated, even though he's done everything he's supposed to do, and honestly, his last outing, I think he gained a lot more respect and a lot of fans against Brian Ortega, just putting him, just putting on that kind of a show and the heart and the
Yeah.
domination at points. Like, it was awesome. So
Yeah, I don't think he made events this card if he doesn't have that Brian Ortega win. I think that gave him a lot of momentum as a champion, even just as a, just one of those top guys. Like, he's a top guy in the business now, top 5 in the pound for pound. Yeah, he's 23-1. Like that's incredible, especially at that weight class. You're fighting the level of competition that Alexander Volkanovski, Max Holloway, not once but twice, and Ortega's and stuff to get there. He's just fought some of the top guys in the industry, so it's pretty exciting. I love it. So, okay, your phenomenal pick, your official phenomenal pick was Aspen Ladd. Like that pick a lot. She's at plus 165 on DraftKings, and then your lock 9-1 going into 2022, but your absolute lock pick, Petr Yan. He's minus 475 on DraftKings right now. So I like it. Those are good picks. I like them. I'm in.
Me too.
And real quick, shout out to that polo that you wear, Felicia Spence.
Oh, yeah.
The fight for that polo.
I didn't know what to wear today, so hey.
Pulling it off. Hey, we got to call Melinda's right after this. I need more of that black truffle. I need it. It's so
just a box full of that.
Yes, not that 4 or 5 star level shit. I can't handle that. Like, get that stuff out of here. Come on, your husband Todd can handle that. I cannot.
Yeah.
Oh gosh,
we saw.
Felicia, I'll see you in Jacksonville Saturday night. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe we'll do a little fun video. Content's king. I'm just going to be recording content in the media lounge all night. So I'll see you Saturday in Jacksonville.
All right. Sounds good. See you there.
See you then. Later.